In the spring of 2016, I was your typical busy working mom. I had 2 daughters. Josie was 9 and Jaden was 8. I was spending more money coloring my gray hair than I'd like to admit, and my laugh lines were looking a little sad. I was able to build my business because my husband, John, was a full-time stay-at-home dad. I mean, he did everything on the home front. He was the carpool captain, he was our family chef, and my personal plumber, removing all the hair from the drains. Yeah, my hair, no less. He was my best friend. With one phone call, life as I knew it would change forever. Who here has had your life change in an instant? Kind of like Janine said, snap. Yeah. We all have had unexpected challenges, whether it's a daily minor annoyance, like that email from your frustrating colleague, or a life-changing event, like getting laid off. That's what we're going to explore today. I'm going to give you a strategy to build your resilience, to handle those challenges thoughtfully, so you can get results instead of regrets. And the cool thing is, when you apply this strategy, it has a ripple effect. Your teams, your organization, and even your family will benefit and get better results too. And this strategy isn't just theoretical. I've used it the last 18 years coaching thousands of clients, from top-level executives to middle managers to front-line employees. And I know it works because it was my lifeline at my worst moment. It started out as any normal Thursday with my bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios while John packed the girls' lunch and got them on the school bus. I met with a client, crushed the chimichanga at my favorite local hot spot, and yes, Devin, I did eat the whole thing. And then I headed across town to my event when I noticed my neighbor calling. That's strange. It's 2:10. I stepped outside and answered it, and she said, "Darcy, what is going on at your house? There are 40 or 50 police cars and a SWAT team with guns surrounding your house. They just took John out barefoot in handcuffs. I don't know what's going on, but you definitely don't want the girls to see this when they get off the school bus." Oh my God. My thoughts were swirling. Wait a minute. What's going on? They must have the wrong guy. How will I make sure the girls don't see this? What in the world was he arrested for? A few minutes later, the detective called to tell me that they were conducting a search warrant at our house. And before we hung up, I asked, "Can you tell me what my husband was arrested for?" Sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl. I couldn't breathe. I felt sick to my stomach. Everything about my supposed storybook life in that moment instantly turned upside down. In a moment, I'll share the rest of my story, but we've all had traumatic moments in our life stories, right? Whether a spouse says they want a divorce, or a major project at work fails, or the call that a loved one has passed. When presented with challenges, my research shows that we each have a go-to response or a default preference. We fall into one of 3 modes. We pause, we think, or we act. So if your default is to pause, you're good at taking a moment to reflect. If your default is to think, you're good at analyzing the situation from every angle. And if your default is to act, you're good at immediately taking control to get things done. Our natural response is what's most comfortable, but not always most effective. Furthermore, our strengths taken to the extreme become our weakness. So the person who pauses, they might stall out and end up in like a 5-hour Netflix binge with only orange sticky Dorito fingers to show for it. Oh, come on, is that only me? The person who thinks might suffer from analysis paralysis and never actually make that tough phone call that they've been replaying and rehearsing and ruminating on. And the person who acts might overreact and impulsively fire off that email. The key is to do all three in order. Pause, think, act. These 3 steps are what I define as the core of Thoughtfully Fit, and they help you to be aware of your thoughts so you don't act unconsciously. These 3 steps are powerful. But I had a client say to me once, "Oh, Darcy, I realized I do it backwards. I act, and then I think, why did I do that? And I have to pause and figure out how to fix it." Engaging my core is what helped me navigate my nightmare. I'd like to read a section from my book, and I need my readers. After John's arrest, I felt like I had no time to pause and think. I just needed to act. Call back the lawyer, get interviewed by the detectives, find a divorce attorney, figure out who was going to pick up the girls, cancel my conference call, monitor the news, clean up the disaster from the police search warrant, remember to feed the girls, remember to feed myself, remember to sleep, try to get my confiscated computers back from the police, remember to breathe. My life had somehow become a real live Dateline NBC episode. My husband, John, was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, the year of our 10-year wedding anniversary. This wasn't how my life story was supposed to unfold. The thoughts were swirling. And if I had acted on all of them, I'd likely still be festering in anger with a pile of regrets. But I had 2 girls who needed me now more than ever, and a team of employees who were counting on me for their livelihood. No good could come from acting on all my thoughts to smash all his pictures. After his arrest made the news, I struggled with whether to give my next keynote or shut down my business. I had to balance how to navigate and handle this trauma with how to keep my coaching and consulting firm alive. I lived in a constant state of holding it all together while simultaneously watching it all fall apart. I was a hot mess. What helped me and how I started to climb out was 3 powerful steps. Pause, think, act. Because life presents unexpected obstacles and adversity. People die, jobs change, bad things happen to good people all the time. And sadly, that won't change. I knew that was going to happen. that won't change. Thoughtfully Fit isn't about eliminating the hurdles. And it's not about eliminating the negative thoughts and emotions. That's our humanity. Thoughtfully Fit is being aware of our thoughts and emotions instead of controlled by them. So you can control how you behave instead of acting on autopilot. So join me in creating a world that's more thoughtfully fit. It starts with you and with me. If you want the resilience to handle your challenges thoughtfully, here's a workout to engage your core. Because just like you can't do 20 sit-ups once a month and expect abs of steel, the same is true for handling our hurdles. You need to practice to build that core mental muscle. And you can start right now in large or small situations, right when you leave here today. Whether it's your colleague eating your yogurt out of the company fridge, despite the 3 Post-its with your name on it, or something big, like your boss crunching his carrots way too loudly unmuted on Zoom. Every day we're presented with opportunities to be more aware of our thoughts and behaviors. And when you can pause, think, and act in small situations, you'll be ready when things get tough. Not only does this matter for you, it matters for your workplace too. Because when your colleagues start to pause and think before acting, you'll have more meaningful discussions. In turn, your teams will get better results and fewer regrets. I've seen it again and again. When employees start to behave more thoughtfully, the culture of the entire organization changes. And not only have I seen organizations transform, I know this works because my family transformed too. When John went to prison, our family dynamics changed significantly. And while I didn't choose these circumstances, I did choose to pause and think about the relationship I wanted to have with my daughters and my ex-husband. I'm often asked, how are the girls? When their dad was arrested, their lives turned upside down too. They are now strong, resilient, and often sassy teenagers going into 9th and 11th grades. Tomorrow is actually their first day of school. And we talk frequently about how to heal and move forward. And through a lot of work, they've forgiven their dad. And by continually training to engage my thoughtfully fit core, I have forgiven him too. Because the energy it takes to be angry isn't worth it. And that's a continual process. We still have our ups and downs, as will you. But we're better today than we were yesterday. And you can be too. Okay, I have yet to achieve life happily ever after. But I know that instead of someone else writing that ending for me, I'm the one determined to write it. Who's in control of writing the next chapter to your story? By training your thoughtfully fit core, you are. You get to write the ending. It's your story, your journey. Thank you.